did you know what type of gravel you were going to be facing in Kenya? Like, this is your first time in Kenya ever, or talk to me about that.
Yeah, it's the first time in Kenya. Um, I was a bit um, informed by Lucas. Lucas Baume won it last year. He's a good friend of mine, and he told me it's rough. And he came to the start with mountain bike tires on the gravel bike. So then I know exactly how tough it is because he's used to some hardcore mountain biking, and then he's coming with this tire. So yeah, they said as wide as possible, and that's what I did. And yeah, it is another. If you compare to the Girona smooth gravel, there it's rough.
Very different. And now
Yeah,
for each stage, is it that type of gravel? Because I'm thinking about in terms of your bike setup. How did you set up your bike, and was it the same setup for each stage?
yeah. I didn't change anything on the bike during the race. Before I used the biggest tire that I have, the 45 millimeters that fits my Mega. Um, except like about gears, I used the Force double group set. I'm not a big fan of the mountain bike mullet because once you shift, it's a lot of big steps because during shifting, like it's one gear too big is like too much, and then one gear lighter is too much. So I like the small cassette. So in front, I use the 5037 chain rings, and then in the rear, the 1036 cassette, which have a
Okay.
super small steps, and especially on the long straights when you find the optimum cadence, it's a good thing. I really like it.
So you went two by up front.
Yeah, I think I was the only one more or less. But also it's like a
Yeah.
free chain catcher. Like it's if the drops off, you just put it to the small ring again and then get it on the big ring again.
And you said you had a 37 on the small ring for the small
Yeah,
ring?
yeah,
How was
37.
that? How did that work for you on the second stage? Because I know they hyped it up as like a Tour de France type climbing stage. Was it enough for you?
It was on the limit. But I think 37, 36 is like I remember in the truck I used the 30 cassette with the same 3730 was big, way too big. But so I put the 36 cassette and I think it was on a limit, but was fine actually. It was like I could need a smaller ring, but then yeah, I just made it. Let's put it that way.
And then with you're an XC mountain biker primarily, right?
Yeah, marathon. Yeah.
So with that background, where did this event fall on your calendar? Is this like was this an A event for you, or was it something you wanted to experiment with? Talk to me about that.
Well, I'm in racing 20 years and I have a lot of fixed races for the team, like Cape Epic and Swiss Epic and the championships. And I always want to put some new adventures in there. So last year I went to South America 2 months, and this year I could fit in Kenya, but more like an adventure because I've never been there. And we just went out with a group of friends actually. We just want to have fun. And I think also what a very good part from this trip is that we spent in total more than 2 weeks in altitude. So it was always over 2000 meter or even more. So it's always good to fit this in the middle of the calendar. And this month is quite easy for me, so it was actually perfect to go over there and take the races with it like a whole trip, like a whole adventure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Did
Yeah.
you do anything differently, like to train for this event in your preparation than you would for a mountain bike race?
Not really. I think it's like this kind of races. I think it's super hard to train for it because it's close to like ultra racing and 7 8 hours on the bike, so it's super difficult to train. What I did is just try to be like rested as possible at the start. Like the weeks before, I didn't train very hard because I know already the trip there, the altitude. Like there's not much to do. You just want to be fresh to survive this 4 days. And no, nothing special actually. No crazy gravel riding or crazy trainings.
That's interesting, man. And so
Yeah.
what was your with the park course in mind, what was your strategy to kind of deal with that, breaking up each day at a time? Because a lot of the gravel races is usually one day, but this being 4 days, like what was your approach coming in for the parkour?
Yeah, like I said, I just want to be rested as possible. But with the safari race on Sunday, it's quite rough. And then we had 2 days to be covered, and one of these days is a like a 10 hours transfer to the Masai Mara, which is yeah, which is on Google Maps they say 3.5 hours, but finally we spent the whole day just to get there and just to find your bike again and get your number on and racing the next day. But yeah, basically like I said, we were there with a group of friends, with Ferry Ovet, with Lawrence Nassen and Lucas Baum and me. And we had like our own small group. And basically we just want one of us to win the race. And it looked like Lawrence, he won the fourth stage. He was really strong. So we put all our money on him, actually. And then things changes during the race. And I know I recover very well during stage races because I do many stage races like Cape Epic, Brazil, this stuff. And I recover quite well during the race, but I always have my second day is my worst day in the stage race, and the third day is the best race, the best days. And from that on, I always like keep the same level more or less. So I counted a bit on that, and that worked out pretty well actually.
That's awesome. And then so going into stage one, I know you probably marked Lucas. Lucas won last year's edition, like you said. What were some of the challenges on day one? And then I know in stage two, you mentioned that it was actually your longest day on the bike ever. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it was 7 hours and 30 minutes to be exact.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, the story of the first day is that we had one part with sticky mud, and I think everybody was there that know that Lucas was the strongest there, but he lost I think 1 hour because he used the mountain bike tires. He didn't have the clearance to get through the mud.
Uh,
So yeah, he rolled the dice, and I think it was a really wise choice to use the big tires because all of the other days he was faster than everybody else. But yeah, then there's this 2 kilometer of mud that changes, and that's Kenya. That is how unpredictable it is. And there was me, Brian, one of the Black Mamas from Mamani, and Lawrence that get through the mud very well, and we directly had 4 or 5 minutes gap. I think we just kept on rolling, and everybody has to go by foot. And once this sticky mud you are by foot, then you have to take out the wheels actually to get the mud out. And like there were three of us who were going, and Mattia he came across and he followed. And it was all day headwind, and we just tried to survive to the finish line. And Lawrence was the strongest there, and yeah, from there on, we tried to recover for the second day.
and then stage two, how did stage two go for you? And Lucas ended up winning stage two, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Well, at this point, I was really tired after the first stage because I really bunked the last hour. And if you bunk one day, you cannot recover to the next day. That's impossible. And then I have this 170-kilometer stage with 3,000 meters of climbing. Like it was super difficult. And actually, I sat down with my coach, and because we have some bigger goals later in the season, and he said, okay, better take it like a bit more easy the second day. And that's what I did. But to be honest, also Lucas went in the front, and I was just the first one that dropped. And then there's this big gap of dust leaving me, and I was there all by myself after 10 kilometers. And then I just decided to put like a good tempo for the rest of the stage. And then I was with two of the Armani guys. We are actually flying down the hill. It's really enjoyable. We were just having so much fun with these two guys. And then I lost a lot of time, but finally Lucas won, and Allowance was also still in the overall. Mattia took the jersey. He did a really solid race that day. Um, but yeah, I think if you look after you go directly to the next day, from saving energies, the second day where everybody was completely exhausted, I woke up the third day and I was like quite fresh. And then from that on, we just went full gas again. So it was like a good thing that I took it easy actually, if you see to the 2 days after. But at that moment, it was quite difficult for me to let the race go. Put like everything in Lawrence and Lucas. But yeah, it's I think that's the toughness of the race, and it also shows how things can change.
Absolutely. And then kind of talk to us about how you're recovering, because with this race, it's also different where you guys are literally camping in tents, right? So it's not like you're going back to the hotel and put your legs up and you're getting comfortable. Were you able to sleep, or what type of challenges did you face at the camp after the race?
Well, the first challenge is just to find your tent. But luckily everybody is super helpful. Like they cleaned the bikes for us. We just put the bikes there. We took a shower. We just had a bucket of water over our head, like it's a shower. But and
Wow.
then yeah, and then what I do is try to eat as much as possible. I cannot eat a lot in one time. So I suffered a lot, and my stomach blocks a bit. So I was just snacking all afternoon, and I slept 2 hours. Then I get go to dinner and then try to sleep like super early, like I think 8, 9 o'clock we already in the tent. And then yeah, this 2 centimeter mattress and the tent, and it gets quite cold at night. It's quite challenging. But yeah, you have to get in this routine. Like the first thing after the finish line, I want to have my jersey ready for the next days, my gels, my bars, all this stuff ready, so I can just focus on recovery. And yeah, I think that's the one of the most important things. And just keep eating because it's such long days. It's hot and it's tough.
For sure. And then for stage three, you guys went at it, and I think I saw you and Lucas ended up going to the line together, and you finished some like 4 seconds behind him. Like, how did that stage end up playing out to where you guys were away from the group?
Yeah, actually, we were just joking around because I said I woke up. I don't know why, but I had like another life. I was just super energetic and smiling at the start line, and it started as a joke. I just want to fuck up Lucas a bit because he was so strong. I just want to hurt him a bit. And then we got away and we have this insane good flow together because we're good descenders, both of us, and we're just having fun actually. And then at the finish line, like we both did our fair share with pushing in the front. And it's always difficult when we know we had more than 10 minutes in front of the others. It's always difficult if you go to the finish line with a good friend. Like it's super easy to say, hey, you win today or you win tomorrow. But then we saw the graphics and there was like this long last climb uphill. And then we just said, okay, we just kind of smashed it and I just see he was going to be the first at the finish line and he was a bit faster than me. But yeah, it was actually a fun day. Like really, and I also think we played our cards really well for the overall because the last 30 kilometer was headwind and we knew that Mattia was alone and me and Lucas could work together and it went really well. And that's why we opened up a big time gap.
And then going into the last stage, where did the stage three finish? Where did that put you in GC going into the last stage?
I went from, I think, 8 minutes and 20 seconds was the gap for the last stage, yeah.
Okay.
Which
So,
sounds a lot in a normal race, but after
exactly.
3 horrible days in Kenya, it's like it's not that much.
So stage four, then the last day, what were your goals? How to win the race?
Yeah, it was a lot of tailwind, and I know in the beginning, like it was basically all day downhill, but I think you don't even feel it. But it was with tailwind was super fast, and I know that Lucas and I can start very fast from the mountain bike we do. So we just basically from the start, like the day before, like I have nothing to lose. Like if I finish second, it's fine, and if I explode after 3 hours, it's also fine. But at least I can try. And yeah, then I directly got away, and then Lucas make the jump to me, and then we start just spinning every downhill, taking a lot of risk. Which actually it's the way of racing I really like. Like it's full on, and we passing trucks, motos, cars, and zebras and all kind of stuff just inside line, and just send it everywhere where we could. And then on the flat, we just try to do a good pace, stop in time to loop the chain, eat enough, and then walk together to the finish line. And yeah, and during the race we got some time gaps. At one point they said 15 minutes, then they said 6 minutes, then they said 10 minutes. Like it's also super difficult. So we're just like yeah, going flat out. And I think it's always this kind of racing. It's if you are the leader, it's more difficult because you have to defend your jersey, and it's super easy to start think negative. You're like, oh shit, I'm gonna lose the jersey, or the guys go so fast. And if you're attacking, it's just like I all or nothing. And if I win, super. And if I don't win, we still have a lot of fun. So it's I've been in the same situation as Mattia many times, so I exactly know how it works on days like that.
Yeah, because he was trying to defend his jersey that last day. And then how did you end up? Because you came to the line by yourself. So did you break away from Lucas then?
Yeah, Lucas, he had a crash because, like I said, we are mountain bikers and
Yeah.
we always like to push it even on the most stupid turns or the easiest turns. And he pushed it a bit towards, so he crashed. And then after that, we lost a bit of momentum. We have to stop even in the feed zone to put some band-aids on his arm because he was bleeding a lot. But yeah, that's like nothing in Kenya. That thing just happened in Kenya. That's like basic stuff every day. But then he flooded at some point, and then he said, "Hans, okay, I have to leave you here and just go full gas." But then it was like still 35 kilometers to finish, and I think we had one section of 20 kilometers just pumping and bouncing around your bike. I hit the rim like 20 times. I was like just scared to flat. But yeah, that's full on racing. That's actually why we love racing. And yeah, at the finish line, I was quite nervous because, like I said, somebody said 6 minutes, the other one say 15 minutes. But I know
Right.
I know we had a decent gap. But yeah, then you arrive alone at the finish line. Unfortunately, Lucas he couldn't close the hole or fix the tire. So he was out of the race at the moment, which was really sad because he was, I think, moved up to 13 overall. After losing 1 hour the first day, he did some really good damage. So he's definitely the strongest of this migration race. But yeah, then you're waiting at the finish line, and then the time ticks away, and then it's 7 minutes, 8 minutes, and then yeah, then finally I had 2 minutes extra, like I had 2 minutes left, which is for me it was really nice to win this race, and only not for me, also for Lawrence and for Lucas and for Freddie that we went into this adventure together. And I feel a bit sad for Mattia, of course, because he defended the jersey and did a really good race, and then to lose it at the last day, it's always yeah, I can
It's tough.
imagine it feels really bad, but he's a great spirit and he fight. I think they fought with everything they had, and yeah, it was good fun with everybody out there.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on your win, man. Did you come into any like close contact with wildlife on the course where you had to dodge like an elephant? Because I know on their site they warn you guys about these things. Did you have any
Yeah,
close encounters with wildlife?
the hippos were the most dangerous ones, but I didn't see them. No, actually, the most close were the monkeys. I was fixing my bike and I just left some gels and stuff outside, and before I know it, it was gone. So they were the most the most dangerous ones. But no, it's insane. You see zebras, you see wildebeest, you see giraffes all around you, um, and it's you just get when you're riding alone, like especially the second day, it was so long day, and just you just want to get to the finish line. I don't know if you know this feeling, like you're not even racing. You just want to get to the finish line, have your shower, get off your bike, get your ass on rest, and just get by the day. And then you're at that moment you're in the middle of Africa and you are seeing some zebras around you and just like yeah, it's difficult to explain. You have to do it once.
It's crazy, man. Because it's the first time
Yeah,
experience for you in Africa, but then you're also trying to win a race. Like it's hard
yeah,
to
it's super
balance, bro.
difficult.
All right, man. Well, what's next for you? Where can people follow you? Your Instagram handle, and what's the next race on your calendar?
I go to Andorra now because I now had 2 weeks of altitude in Kenya. I'm sleeping this week at home to recover a bit, but I also sleep in altitude in my altitude tent. And then I go on Friday, I go directly to Andorra. I will stay 2.5 weeks there to do another block of altitude. And next week we have the Andorra Epic. It's a 4-day MTB race. And then I have 1 month of rest, and then I will do the European Championship marathon in Augustus in Denmark.
Well, good luck at that, man. Crush it.
Yeah, thanks.
And are you gonna do migration gravel again? I know I saw at the end you said you weren't gonna be back, but you were tired. Have you changed your mind?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, like now we talk about the experience. It was so cool, so I want to come back. That's how it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Depends the calendar and what goals we have for next year. But if I have the chance to be riding around with zebras again, I will be there.
All right, man. Well, thanks so much for your time and coming on and joining me.
No worries.